Hello again, everyone. Deflex here, Firm but Fair Gaming. It is Friday evening, and they finally released it. I always thought it would be earlier in this week, but it did come later, and it did come at this time. So we're gonna jump right into the nerfs, and it's a whole page. Well, I guess we'll get into some buffs too, but this is for the upcoming class tuning. It is being released just before the week reset, where you're starting to get some of the new zones. And Blizzard is doing some last minute changes for the February 25th. They are buffing both DK specs, Frost and Unholy, and they are both going up 5% flat damage increase, which is interesting because I guess they were both doing better than some specs. Like they're kind of, I would have said mid A tier, nothing crazy, but mid A. But yeah, they are going up. Demon Hunter, they reworked some changes with the Eldrachi Reaver set. It was double dipping, so that's been fixed. So that might bring Havoc down a little bit because they were just crazy DPS. Feral Druid is getting buffs. Feral, it looks like they're going to pump Feral up. They're doing well right now. They're doing some crazy damage. You pull around their cooldowns, they're doing some insane damage. And they are going up again. 25% on melee auto attacks, 25% on adaptive swarm, 40% on the tier set, and a wild stalker bursting growth damage by 20. Guardian Druid was one of the worst DPS tanks. Actually, it was the worst DPS tank. Not even one of them. It just was. All abilities by 5% increase, Moonfire by 20%, and Fury of a Loon by 80%. So this should help Bear get a little closer to the competition. It's not going to bring you up until like VDH levels, but it should get you close from the basement up to about like it should be D mid pack. Evoker. For all you people who thought Og Evoker was still going to be S tier, I saw so many tier lists so far that it was S tier. I was calling it's going to be low A, maybe high B tier, and they will make sure of that because everyone was sick of seeing it. For everyone who said, no, no, it's still S tier, well, here you are again. And this will do it. So if nobody believes me, mark my words, very low A, least of the A's or high B is where it's going to end up landing, if not lower. A shifting sands versatility effect is now reduced by 20%. Breath of Eons now accumulates only 8% of the damage taken, not 10%. And closest clutch mates increase the effectiveness of Ebon Might and Breath of Eons by 10% outside of raid was 25. So this only buffs your DPS an additional 10%. No more buffing the tank and healer because that was changed at the beginning. This will do it. This right here is a 15% nerf they're dropping in on it. So on the Ebon Might alone. This is it. If anyone still thinks they're S tier, by all means, play Og Evoker, try it out. Don't take my word for it. You're not going to be S tier. But play it if you like it. Doesn't really matter. Go for it. I would say Devastation's looking pretty good though, and they just got a 6% damage increase on everything. Downfall is your true set no longer grants essence burst from shattering star procs. Beastmaster was crushing it. They were up in the S. 8% reduced damage to all abilities will bring it down a bit. Pharaoh will actually be doing more than Beastmaster right now. Quite a bit more actually with the recent buffs. They're kind of going to swap spots. Beastmaster should still be probably low. I would say maybe I would drop them probably a bit. They would probably go to A tier, high A, because 8% all abilities is a huge amount. Marksman getting a 6% damage increase. Sure, I don't think it's enough. I think you're gonna have to go you should have went the opposite way. This should have been a 6% decrease, and this should have been like a 12% increase, but is what it is. Marksman is marginally getting buffed, and then precise shot, focus cost reduction increased to 40 was 30. Blah. Really nothing. Holy Paladin, 4% all healing increase. Good thing. Priest, we are cleaning up some interactions between Mindbender and Void Rat to reduce its effectiveness for Disc Priest. In addition, we are compensating Shadow to tune Void Weaver up in comparison to Archon and make up for the reduction to Void Wrath. Cool. So Shadow's not going to lose really anything. They're going to tune it up. Void Wrath damage is now reduced by 25% when talented into Mindbender, and cooldown has been increased to 3 minutes, was 2, now matching Shadow Fiend. So if you initially take Void Wrath, it's just a straight swap for Shadow Fiend now. Or if you take the Mindbender, it's going to be reduced by 25% effectiveness, which everyone will take still anyway, I'm sure. Void Wrath grants the reduced effectiveness version of Shadow Covenant while talented into Mindbender. Okay, and Void Wrath now returns 0.2% mana when talented into Mindbender was 0.5. Disc, I've never run into a mana issue, so shouldn't be a big issue, big problem there. Shadow, all damage increased by 13%. 2-set bonus triggers less often. 2-set bonus Void Bolts now deal 100% damage was 200, and now increase the damage of Mind Blast and Void Bolt by 10 was 15. So I'm not sure if this will net out as still a bonus with everything, but it should be pretty close. Void Blast damage increased by 25%. Inner increase the damage of Shadow Word Pain and Vampiric Touch by 35 was 25, and Collapsing Void damage increased by 15. So more buffs on the Void Weaver there. Rogue, Rupture damage increased by 6%. Trickster, Unseen Blade damage increased by 15. And Surprising Strike damage, crit bonus increased to 50% was 25,000 cuts. Chance to reset Unseen Blade has been increased slightly. Assassination, Crimson Tempest damage by 6%. Arterial Precision now causes shift to strike 8 targets was 5. Very interesting there. And Sudden Demise now increases bleed damage by 15 was 10. So buffs to Assassination. They weren't in a completely awful spot, but yeah, they were, I think, falling slightly behind sub at the current time. Outlaws, Precise Strikes now increase Blade Fury damage by 5% per missing target below its max was 4, so a buff there. And Trickster, Nimble Fury now increases Blade Fury damage by 25 was 20. More buffs. Sub Hull Ability 10. Sub's actually, I think, going to be the front runner now. This should solidify it unless there's some crazy nerfs here. Damage to Eviscerate, Secret Technique, Black Powder reduced to 2% per stack was 3. Okay, depending on the amount of stacks. Shadow damage increases. Duration of Shadow Dance reduced to 2% per stack was okay. That's a big chunk there. Okay, Nimble Fury now causes 60% of listed ability damage to strike nearby enemies was 50%. So a buff on the Trickster. This, I don't know if it's going to net out a loss, or you'd really have to track the 2 set to see on this to see if that's going to net loss or net buff on that. Shaman, all healing increased by 4%. Really wasn't the biggest issue. That should read all damage increase, but we'll see if they actually fix it. This is going to be nuts, though. I had Affliction in a pretty decent spot going into the next patch, and they are getting flat buffed hard. So, Summon Glare has been adjusted. Damage increased by 40%. Damage over time effect on their current target increased their damage by 45% was 25. Huge buff. Has been adjusted. Malefic Rapture deals 40% increased damage to targets suffering from unstable affliction was 25. Unstable affliction damage by 30. Shadow Bolt by 20. No one really counts that much. Drain Soul by 20. Huge buffs for affliction. And I don't know what goes through Blizzard's head. I have no idea. I just laugh every time I see it. Fury Warrior all ability damage reduced by 5%. Everybody in the same section as Fury just got buffed and they just got nerfed. And they weren't even fantastic. They would have been low A or B tier. Like nothing crazy. And they got nerfed. Arms I could see. Arms was pushing for S tier, the way it was doing damage. But to nerf Fury with it, that's absurd in my mind. But hey, I'm not a dev for Warrior. That's just some hard luck for Fury again. Seems like they're down there with the Brewmaster Monk on the level of Blizzard caring about them. Anyways, that's the tier Or that's the review here, affecting a lot on the tier list. Mainly Evoker, goodbye, see you later. Go down a section or two, and Feral, big winners. Feral, Guardian, DK's good winner. Yeah, those are some big wins there. If you have any questions, as always, leave a comment below, and we'll see you in the next video.